So initially, what might have brought you in to this work was some kind of struggle with food, some kind of struggle with binge eating or yo-yo dieting or late night snacking or, you know, maybe some images around some issues around your body, your relationship to your body, your image of your body. And, typically in this culture, and especially in the diet culture, we try to resolve these issues at the level of the food, and of course, the most common way to do it is to go on a diet. And I don't have to tell you all where that leads or what that is, but for you to come into this kind of a circle, the dieting is like, okay, been there, done that, not where I want to go, not going to give me the results I'm looking for. So something that I have learned just in the years that we all have been working together is that, by the time we get to the point where we are struggling with our food habits, there has already been a whole chain, cause and effect in place of beliefs and values and behaviors and perceptions. And what I have especially become really fascinated with lately is that not all of these beliefs and values and perceptions and behaviors are actually ours. Some of them come from our ancestral lineage. Let's say you have a habit of sneak eating, right? You're trying to hide your food from somebody else or from the world or whatever. Or you might have a compulsion to absolutely clear your plate no matter what. Or you might have an attitude of, well, gee, I better eat this today because I might not have it tomorrow. So typically we will think this is my thought, right? However, there's been a lot of research about this, and just also in terms of intuitive exploration, what is becoming clear is that those kinds of patterns of perceptions and beliefs and behaviors can actually come from our ancestors, from our previous generations. This piece of doing the ancestral work can be extremely helpful in terms of really being able to eradicate, the word eradicate, to pull up from the root, right? It can help us to eradicate or to reveal or to unearth these perceptions. And then once we do that, it gives us a choice about how we want to relate to that. So how does this perception or this belief serve me? Do you see? The other piece about preserving memory is important, perhaps for family reasons, and it can also be important for our collective well-being. Because if we don't remember, we are prone to repeating. So all of us here, I'm gonna wager, we have parents, grandparents, great-grandparents who went through some war, some kind of collective upheaval where their lives were upended, overturned in some way. And that the heredity, the legacy of that has passed down to us. When we first introduced the crone 4 years ago, I was 57 years old, and I was right on the brink of my second Saturn return, i.e., coming into turning 60. And I liked the idea of the crone, but I was a little bit intimidated by her. And I think of all the archetypes, the crone has been the one that's been, for me, the most sort of approach avoid. And this year, especially in these last couple months, there has been a sub-archetype of the crone who has really been revealing herself to me and making her presence very known in my own life. And I think she's also showing up very much in the collective these days. And that is the sub-archetype of the hag, So the crone is she who holds her blood to make wisdom, right? In the three blood mysteries, we have the maiden who bleeds, the mother who holds her blood to make milk, the crone who holds her blood to make wisdom. Within that archetype of the crone, the hag is the queen of the shadow aspect of the crone. So she is the dark goddess. She is the dark mother. She is the queen of our subconscious minds. She is the queen of everything that we seek to hide and everything that we seek to hide from. She is the keeper of our secrets, and she is the revealer of our secrets. So she is also the most feared and the most sort of dreaded among all the archetypes. So if there is a place in your life where it's, I'll deal with everything else, but I can't deal with that, that is the domain of the hag. If there's a place in your life where you have been struggling and struggling and struggling and struggling, that is the place of the hag. So there is some kind of ransom that she is demanding, and she will not let up until you surrender it. So when I look at the collective right now and everything that we are facing collectively, it seems to be that we are in a time of, the word that comes to mind is acceleration. We're in a time where it seems like systems and beliefs and practices that we put in place, perhaps dating back to when we dropped the bomb, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki back after World War II. That was a real turning point in the history of humanity for all kinds of reasons. So it seems to be that since that time, we are, for lack of a better word, we'll call it the patriarchal paradigm, has been accelerating. And now here we are, 20 years into the 21st century, and it's accelerating. There's a tipping point that seems to be coming. And when I reflect on this, my sense is that this is the domain of the hag. And that everything that we're looking at, all these destructive impulses, all the war, all the environmental destruction, all of it is an attempt to kill that hag, to push her away, to get rid of her. But here is the thing. Nobody wins when it comes to the hag. Nobody prevails over her. She cannot be killed because she is death itself. And it is the fear of death and the rejection of death and the obsession with avoiding death that is creating this thanatoptic, this obsession, this death-obsessed culture. Do you see? So the medicine of the hag and the antidote is we have to turn and face her. And to not only turn and face her, but to cultivate a sense of veneration, respect. And it doesn't mean we have to like her or love her or she's not a warm and fuzzy. This is not about, getting cozy with her in the way that we might with the mother or the maiden. But to respect her sovereignty, to respect the non-negotiable aspect of her truth. And then once we enter through that gateway into the realm of the hag, and we are able to actually turn toward and face the darkness within ourselves, within our family lineage, within our history, within our collective. It is right in the middle of that dark that the keys to liberation are to be found. And what is that liberation? The liberation of the crone is absolute unconditional freedom, where you no longer give a flying fuck about anything that anybody has to say about you. Because once we have faced those darkest truths within ourselves, there's nothing in the phenomenal world that can scare us anymore. You see, it's the woman, the elder, who fully, unapologetically, fearlessly, she is the flame before it extinguishes. You know, she steps into the absolute unconditional fullness of her own being. And it might not be pleasant or palatable to conventional society, but it contains within it the seeds of wisdom.